first things first, I've just got back off a camping trip and I'm exhausted and I'm still walking home. It is Reviews Day Tuesday. So today I wanted to review some books about nature, whether you have a tiny little city garden or whether you have a really nice big open field like these people who own this paddock full of sheep. So I don't look that great because I just got back off a camping trip. Let's move on. So the first thing I wanted to tell you about your gardens and the area around your house is that you can improve it really simply by letting a patch of your grass grow up into wild meadow flowers, especially over winter and in early summer and late summer, because these are the times when you're not using it, but this is when it's most vital for bees and other insects for there to be a better diversity within that little ecoculture that is your grass. And yes, it's grass and that's great, that's half the battle. As long as it's not concrete, that's super. So this is a monoculture basically, which means there's one type of thing living on it and that thing is grass and occasionally ants. By letting it grow up, it means that more types of plants and more insects and things can live in it, and it creates a better ecosystem. You know, you want lots of different plants and animals all living side by side together, and you can read about that in some of the books that I will recommend in a bit. The second thing you can do is to compost things. So this can be done as simply as a couple of plant pots upside down with a hole in the top. You can just shove all your waste food and waste plants, you know, the flower heads and stuff like that, just in there, and it will also give you a much more eco-friendly way of disposing of waste. You can read about this in some of the books that I will recommend later, which is super. At the same time, if you have big logs, big pieces of tree trunk, or maybe old carpet as well, they're always good, maybe some old wooden boards, pile them up in a sort of higgledy-piggledy way in the corner of your garden, and that will create a lovely little ecosystem inside there where lots of insects and spiders and things can go and live. It's a great place for your kids to go, and they'll just move one log and they'll be able to identify all the little insects and things that are living inside it. And it's also great for things like hedgehogs and birds, and they'll just go in there snuffling around and eating all the little slugs and stuff, and that's great. That's so great. Area of your garden, let a bit of it go natural. Compost and making a little wood pile or a little mini ecosystem in your garden. You can also make hedgehog houses, you can put bird feeders up, you can do all these different things, and they're so fun and so great, and they're actually little projects and you can watch them grow, and as long as you give them somewhere, animals and insects and plants will come as long as they have a way. The next thing is bees. Bees are such a huge part of our biodiversity, and we as a species rely on them so much, as well as other species as well, and we really need to help them to flourish like they once did. And in some of the books that I will recommend, they will give you lists of plants that bees specifically like, and that will specifically encourage bumblebees and honeybees to your garden, which is great because they're cute and fuzzy, and who doesn't like bees? So let's go find out. Cool. And the first book I have to recommend is any Collins Gem Dictionary. They look like identification guides, and they're really cute and they're convenient to carry around. You can get them from pretty much anywhere, even online, offline. They're usually stocked in pretty much any bookshop, a lot of second-hand shops as well. They're quite cheap, and they're really useful to carry around. You can just stick it in your pocket and then identify things wherever you go. And in your garden, this is really useful because you can learn which mushrooms are poisonous, which wildflowers are best for bees. They're just the best, and you can even carry them around on things like nature walks or when you're just going through the park, and identify the trees and plants that you see around. Another book which is great when you want to help biodiversity come back into your garden is any beekeeping book, but usually at the back of them they will have a little section about which plants bees like, and what will encourage bees to your garden if you're not a beekeeper, which is really convenient. And you could pick one up at the library and then jot some stuff down and take it home, or you could just look up any of this information online, because of course the internet. Another book that's great is Richard Mabley's The Story of Outlawed Plants, which just encourages you to think more widely about the weeds that grow in your garden, and that they are actually plants as well, and that they will encourage life to come back to your garden, and they are just as good as any plant even though they spread a lot faster, so they're a lot harder to contain. But if you do want to leave a little area of your garden to become wild, this is a great book to have, and it just helps you to understand what's going on in that area of your garden. The next one I'm going to recommend is The Vegetable Patch by Isabel Carlton. It's a really great little book, and it's useful as a guide to just have around with you all the time. It's got note pages, and it tells you what to do month by month, sort of in sections, and it's really useful because it just tells you what to do, gives you handy little tips when things are starting to go wrong, and it's just really great. And last one is An Illustrated Country Year by Celia Lewis, and this is really cute, and I just thought if you don't know much about the countryside, or you live in the city and you want to get a little bit of a taste of the countryside, it's got really great illustrations. And it tells you all about these creatures that you can see when you go on night walks or day walks or country walks or river walks or whatever sort of walk you want to go on, and it'll even give you a little bit of information about your local park or something like that, and it's just such a nice book. So yeah, this has been Reviews Day Tuesday, and I command you to go to your local bookshop and buy some books about gardening right now.